I'm hoping this works. I'm trying a new thing. I'm trying streaming from my phone. And, today we're going to try a game that I've been really excited to play for a while. It is the sequel. Can you have a sequel to a game like this? It's the next generation of one of, I think, the most simply and joyfully designed games I know, and that's Mini Metro. And let's play a round of this, but we may well go back into Mini Metro because I want to compare and contrast what these games are, what they mean, what they're saying. So in this game, we've got to help people get to where they want to be, and fantastic selection of cities. Let's start with Los Angeles. Los Angeles and Munich, of these, the only two cities I've lived in. Ooh, love a bit of the night mode. So, if anyone's ever played Mini Metro, you probably recognise things that are similar and things that are quite different here. It's the same kind of building a functioning city. But now, instead of building a railway line, you're building roads with all the associated challenges of doing so. And so I played the tutorial, I'm still just about getting my head around it. So we have to take our road each time. That's a horrible road. Is this a sensible intersection? Probably not. Take our road each time to this, I don't know, it's LA, so this strip mall. And something that's immediately strange about this game is the buildings, these big ones in the centre. These are the things that are demanding people visiting them. And I'm still just starting to get my head around what that means. What does it mean for these buildings to demand people? Like, sometimes it feels a bit like maybe what I'm simulating here is ride-sharing apps. Oh, I'm out of roads. So, let's reclaim some roads. That's ugly as hell, and even though it will cost me another road, I'll fix it. No, I don't have another road to use. Oh, there we go, some more road tiles. And traffic lights. Let's go over traffic light. There we go, that was much nicer. So, I can change the direction in which the cars come out. I can't change the direction in which the parking lots work. And immediately I'm starting to wonder, it's such a different state than Mini Metro, which kind of makes sense when people turn up at stations and they tell you where they want to go. Here, people of a certain type want to go to a specific place, but what that means is kind of hard to tell. We've got some really tight spaces here. I think I probably want a traffic light here. This is kind of city skylines in miniature. connect them up like this. So I have no idea at this point. Playing something like Mini Metro, you quickly... Well, I don't know. It's always hard to remember what it's like to first play a game, but you start to build up tactics that you use often, that you think work well. But with this game, it's hard to guess exactly what those tactics are going to be. Now, one thing that's surprising is that I don't actually have to connect up the houses when they come in. Because what's being demanded of me isn't that I connect everything. Oh my god, that's a lot of stuff at once. I don't know if I'm allowed to reclaim my traffic light. Can I? So some low tiles. So another traffic light. So quickly we get these kind of awful intersections. Does that make sense? Who knows? We've got a blue house out here. So probably what I want to do is start building strong, fast highways and really channeling people on those. Someone watching this at some point is going to be looking at this, including possibly me. who is the biggest watcher of my videos? Definitely myself. Coming in a distant second, my partner. No, I don't know, my mum. Really pushing the medium at the medium. So it's actually not entirely clear whether it's worth connecting up all the houses, given that we don't absolutely need them. This is a nice new addition. That's ugly. Is this a crazy intersection? I kind of like it. Let's work out if we can indeed. No, traffic lights once placed seem to be fixed. Just like in Mini Metro, it seems like after some time, structures can upgrade themselves. But unlike there, where they upgrade themselves, so I'm really doing pretty well on road tiles, which makes me think that I'm miss or underusing them. Aha, so here we have an issue. What I've done is I've connected all these yellow things not to the main roadway. And so all these nice yellow people who want to go to their specifically yellow destination, still not really understanding that, they can't do so. Okay, so we've got more pinks. Come on home, guys. Get more yellows, got enough blue. I'll just connect everything up. What could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong about this traffic nightmare I've created? So it turns out, streaming on the phone, it creates quite a bit of heat. I'm also noticing that the typical size of a screen doesn't perfectly fit. Can we go through? That's awful. perfectly fit like an actual Twitch screen, an actual normal monitor size. So if you're watching at home on ultra wide, another pink house. So it certainly looks like you do sort of need to connect all the houses because the buildings will demand that many. So this is one of the big things. You get motorways, and I mean, where do I even want to build a motorway at this point? I want to get people away from these slow intersections, so I'm going to build a motorway starting here. Did I just put it in completely the wrong place? Yeah, can I? Oh yeah, I can reclaim it. Oh, I can reclaim everything. I can delete motorways. Why does it keep going over there? Delete. No. This is entirely me being an idiot. Okay, so I've got to drag it to where I want it to be. And then I've got to decide where I want it to go. And where... I think maybe I want it to go... So motorways can go kind of... How do I do it again? There we go. Motorways can stretch to anywhere, so I'm going to stretch them to here. No. Here? Almost, yeah. Stretch them over that poor person's house. I think I am on my way to a failure. This yellow thing here is a ticking time bomb. It's building up to saying, you fail. I'm not a big fan of the houses starting with roads coming out of them. It just continuously throws off me thinking that I can build out of them. Yep, this city's working about as well as the LA I know and love. But I got an achievement, so it's all kind of coming up rosy. And that is me losing. So I'm now gonna, kind of as a point of comparison, hop into Mini Metro. And let's jump into the daily challenge. We're in New York City, apparently in 1972. I don't know what that means. Oh my god, we're in the New York Transit map of 1972. Something that's wonderful about this game is that it copies the actual kind of typography, the whole appearance of the city it's in. So in this game, not too dissimilar from the last, I'm building connections between places and trying to make a relatively robust, reliable infrastructure. Is that Central Park? Yeah, no, surely not. It feels too kind of specifically uptown, although in the 70s there weren't many uptown trains, so it could be. One of the most important things to do in this game is to continuously fuss with your lines to make them as beautiful as possible. Otherwise you're not really a city planner. So I have, they're hard to see on the far right of the screen, but I have a selection of lines that I can build, and each person turns up at a station and they demand to go to a particular other station. Actually, no, not quite that strong. They demand to go to a particular kind of station. So, over time, you start to get a picture of each kind of station having a personality. Squares are generally kind of central stations. I like to think of them as the, other transport hubs. Circles, you start to get more and more of, particularly out to the edges of a city. They kind of represent the suburbs, the housing, and they're often the cause of you failing, because the issue is you have a line which goes through 3 or 4 circles in a row, a long, slow commuter train, and there isn't space for other passengers on it. God, there's a pink line in New York. Things you learn. Yeah, I think that is Central Park. Oh my god. And that's up here in the corner is Flushing Meadows. A place that I always thought was just... I mean, I think this happens everywhere, particularly to people who don't live in places. Yeah, so you can see how many customers are ending up waiting at the end of these lines. You then start to get more obscure stations. I think there's only one of each kind of obscure station in the map. You get stars, ellipses, pentagons, diamonds. And these present their own challenge, because something like the ellipse, so what would an ellipse out here be? Brooklyn Museum? Is a specific site that people particularly want to go to. And often you get to a point where you have to do a big rearrange of what you've already got. Like this, nobody needed this up here. Up here in sort of Morningside Heights, we have another square station. So no longer does the red line particularly need to go to that square. Although this isn't very clever, because what this means now is that the green line, so that anyone who wants to go on the red line to the ellipse has to go the whole length of the green line. So let's rethink this. Luckily I'm allowed to pause, so I can pause and really have a think about it. There's a lot of demand for triangles. I think the green line is actually a pretty well-functioning line right now. It just needs a little bit more support. So the thing I've just moved over is a carriage. I've got a carriage on any particular train, and that just doubles the amount that it can take. There's not really any good place to build this. You know what? Let's rethink this entirely. This is the kind of Harlem line. And can I sensibly double up on the... Yeah, it might work. Because at the moment, we actually only have one triangle on the entire map. I'm pretty sure each station is randomly generated. This is a great example of a game that is well made and well coded, but also, by design, quite minimal in what it needs in the coding. For anyone wanting to make games, this is an absolutely fantastic example of how to make a minimal and yet still deep and really compelling game. I don't want to think how many hours I've put into this game, but actually, after saying that, I don't regret those hours. I love urban design. It's kind of... I just find it fascinating. So I'm never gonna resent the time spent thinking about urban design, but it's a light simulation. It's certainly not a perfect simulation of these systems. For one thing, if you build an underground train line and you're the engineer and you just built it, and then someone says like, oh, now it goes over here, that don't work. Now this is good news. I'm out of bridges. I have a finite number of bridges. I can get more of them. You can get more of anything at the end of each day. But for the moment, I don't have any spare. Which is a shame. Oh, there we go. I was going to say which is a shame because I'd love to get this blue train over there. Now at this point, every line goes to a triangle. Every line, apart from one, goes to a square. Let's have another line. Two lines make their way to the This is not a long-term solution, but it will work. So right now, up here, we've got people getting angry. Overcrowding the station. So another thing we can do is plop a magic train that didn't exist until now down into the world. So over here in Queens, we're starting to get the problem that normally eventually becomes killer, which is just a slew of circles. Even on the otherwise should be pretty functional blue line, we don't really have capacity to cover the number of circles we've got. The AI, as much as this game has one, is relatively simple, and so I'm not certain how it makes... Oh no, we're gonna lose. Go. No. Well, that's embarrassing. You only get to do these challenges once, and there was very little reason to lose that one. Most of them you get to do as many times as you want, but the daily challenges you only get to do once. So let's see how... Yeah. 1,264. Let's jump into another city quickly, and then I'll go back to mini motorways in a bit. I don't want hard mode. I want normal mode. Anyone who's been to these cities will start to recognise how artfully this game replicates the subway maps. I don't know if all of them are perfect, but it is certainly true that San Francisco and the BART system have a kind of unstylized version, whereas if you look at something like Paris or New York... Did you know New York has an unstylized map on which this sits on top? Well, some places have a really stylized, like Hong Kong takes all its little islands and it turns it into a relatively understandable space. Seoul has this fantastic river shown by many blue lines. Half the world is visible here. Half the world. But there's something lovely about how simply they managed to make it possible to travel all over the world and to think about cities all over the world. But let's go back to good old London, my hometown. Oof. Fun fact about London trains: that I'm never sure I've really fully believed. But there's different soil qualities. Not exactly done this way, but basically different soil qualities north and south of the river, different underlying rocks, which is part of the reason that there basically aren't tube trains in South London. Well, this is a disaster. No, that's a terrible idea. So right now we're really limited by the number of bridges, and one slightly annoying thing about the game is even though it's completely woodwork to put a tunnel here, it's not an option. To build a line here without a tunnel. It just won't allow it. So what we'll start to get on this bottom line is people building up who desperately want to go to a square and have nowhere to do so. But early on in the game, there's not so much traffic that it's particularly worrying. Then I could do... Yeah, not ideal, but it will work. The fact that you can change everything means that you can do early on pretty deeply suboptimal things. Gonna do this. Oh yeah, more tunnels. Okay, let's let's rip up the entire subway system and start again with these more tunnels. So I want lines that get good amounts of squares and circles, basically. This southern line works pretty well, and then this works, but it'd be nice to have a square on it. You know what? It's not too bad. So even though you can change everything quite quickly, your network starts to look more and more like what it will eventually look like, and as it grows crazy out of control, you're dealing with the problems that you set in motion a long time before. It's a wonderful example of chaotic cascades. Actually, the thing that makes you lose the game is often the decision that you made ages ago that you've completely forgotten about. And it takes that long for the information about your terrible decision to actually propagate through to a place where you can see it. That actually means that... So most games want you to be good at them, because it's more fun to be good at a game. That actually means that the game is slightly bad at helping you be good at it. Feels like I'm putting quite a lot on the game to blame it for me being bad at it, but it's hard to reinforce, particular good behaviours when... Alright, so I'm just going to abandon a few of these stations for a little bit, and then when I get a new line, it's going to go across the North Bank. It's hard to reinforce positive behaviour when it's not really clear the cause of what then eventually happens to you. Your actions aren't actually very clearly translated back to you. This is one of the hardest problems in all forms of teaching. It's one of the hardest problems in machine learning, to reinforce good or bad behaviour that is deeply abstracted away from the time when the decision is made. Did I just... No, I did pick up a new line. So we even have... When I was deciding what the different lines mean, I didn't actually decide what triangles mean. I choose to believe they're kind of commercial centres. They're... Oh my god. Everyone wants to shop in... Where are we? Here. I don't know. How far west are we there? Maybe we're coming down to fashionable New South London. So this square up here is yet more things I didn't need. So such a strange distribution of things. If they keep on... Okay, at least there's a circle there. If we keep on having circles over to the east and squares and triangles over to the west, we'll have exactly the kind of problem that city planners really want cities not to work like. That there's a net flow that people want to go in. I think I'm right in saying, it's embarrassing living in London all my life and not knowing this for certain, but I think I'm right in saying that the kind of stereotypical oxbow of London is the Isle of Dogs, is Canary Wharf and the Financial Centre, so actually quite far out east. So we've got this strange thing of we're sort of building a train line for the Docklands that just about reaches through to... Oh, no, didn't want to do that. No idea what I just did, but it seems bad. Let's build the district line. That just about reaches through to... And let's give it another way for people to get to... Oh, you weirdos. Stop building all your stations over here. So based on what I said, these are kind of Charing Cross. I don't even know anymore, man. It's stressful. So there's a wonderfully free structure to this game. There's no absolute requirement that you have lines of equal length and equal occupancy. You can have kind of one major line. Sometimes it works really well to have a single main loop and everything else feeding that. So that's pretty good news. No, actually, no, it's not. Because it does nothing for me to connect this here. Because already these trains have gone 3 circles in a row. Going a 4th won't do anyone any good. You want as much as possible to alternate the shapes that people are going to, such that they actually have a chance to offload, because people getting on these trains, they want to go to a triangle, they're going to have to be on them until all the way out here, whatever happens. I always like to think of these as baseball fields, which doesn't make much sense in London. Maybe it's Lord's cricket grounds. I'm going to take the carriage, because I think that's more representative of the problem that we're seeing here. Now, the trains move quickly enough that their travel time is not a huge factor. Oh, why do so many people have to live in East London? Guys, it's not even cool yet. At the point where London had 5 subway lines. I don't know when that would have been in history. Also, if anyone's grinding their teeth at my continued use of the word subway, sorry, I guess. But also chill. Now, this cluster of triangles, whilst well representing people's wish to go to interesting and fashionable London, you'll never guess where I grew up. Ooh, got a church. It's causing some issues. I'm going to go with this, and this. And one of the reasons for this is that it allows the blue train to break up this otherwise chain of triangles. I always wondered, like, putting me playing games online, whether there's some people who play these games well will look at me playing and just be like, you idiot. And equally, like, this is not a thing you often hear people voicing as a fear, and not to add fears to the world, I think it would be a good one to hear more. But there's a possibility that me speaking as some kind of authority on this, an authority on the architecture of London and on game design, I might be completely wrong. I certainly am about physics quite a lot. Like, net, I'm more often right than wrong. The tax money is not being wasted. But this could be a terrible tactic. Is that good news? Yeah, that's basically good news, a triangle out there. We've got this very long light blue line. So let's, it's already got a train with a carriage on it. That's the wrong direction to put that in. Oh, this is going to be the death of us. There are definitely things I could do to save the game at this point, but I'm relatively willing to let it go. I'm not really kind of pushing for a really high performance system. Alright, I'm going to put a break in here, and when we come back, we'll be jumping back into mini